Well, hello crochet friends, and welcome back to my channel. Today I'm going to do another video for my Granny Circle Along and show you about blocking and what I do with my doilies that I showed you how to make in my tutorial last time. And so I am working with 100% cotton yarn. This is the Chunky Thread brand, and there are 40 colors so far, and this is what they look like when I have wound them with a yarn winder into cakes. And let's see, just to recap, I showed you how to do round 1, round 2 in the granny circles, and then this is round 3. So there are 3 round granny circle, and then we put on a single crochet round, and that becomes the base of these doilies. Okay, so I will leave a link here in the description of the video of the tutorial for these doilies in case you missed it and you're just joining us now. And so let me clear these out, and I want to talk to you about my circles and what I do with them. But first I want to talk about blocking. Whoops, sorry for that noise. Okay, so I told you in my last video that I would talk about this where I left off about the blocking. So here's the same doily that I had blocked the night before my video, and so I just have it all blocked out, and I left it on there so I could show you kind of what it looks like. But let's just talk about the blocking a little bit. So I've got, let me grab one that I haven't blocked yet. So I haven't blocked this one yet. Okay, and so it looks, because it's cotton, you can stretch it out, kind of shape it, and it looks pretty good actually. You can decide whether you want to block or not, but I usually do block when I'm going to put it on an end table or in my plant stands, something like that I'll talk about later. But sometimes I don't block. It's just kind of up to you. This is 100% cotton yarn. And when you are blocking, you're just going to apply water to it and kind of block it out. Just what the word says. You're kind of stretching it a little bit, not a whole lot. You're just trying to even everything out. When I am crocheting circles, and I assume that you are the same way, and even granny squares, I'm right-handed. So as I crochet along, sometimes things get slanted and kind of, let me grab this one. It may look like I'm going around this way. And so blocking just kind of helps put everything back how it's supposed to be. And then you spray it with water, saturate it with water, and just let it dry overnight. And then it just dries how you pinned it in. So this is what my blocking boards look like. I just pulled out a new one to kind of show you. So there's squares on one side, and there's circle on the other side. And so with the squares, I'll do like a big square or several granny squares at the same time. It just helps to have everything in 1/2-inch increments, and then a dot in the center of those 1/2-inch increments. So I know that that's 1/4 of an inch from here to here, if that makes sense. And it's not because you're really measuring, it's because you are just wanting to pin them evenly. So I hope that makes sense. So I'm going to grab this little bowl, and I'm just going to show you how I begin my blocking by taking out these pins on the outside, and see how I put a pin on the point of these scallops, and I put them on this line. See, so it helps to have a line to guide me so that I know that it's going to be even that way. And so I know, this is going to take a minute, but I thought I could chat with you at the same time and kind of explain the process a little bit, and hopefully answer some of your questions along the way about blocking and, getting it the size that you want, or I don't know if I really hate saying size because everybody is different. Some crochet tighter or looser or whatever. And so it's not really about the size. It's about getting it even. Okay, so that you can see That's what that looks like underneath. And I had put this, the points, I had kind of stretched them out on the 11-inch circle. So this is an 11-inch circle. Now, before it kind of measured 10 inches, but it still kind of does a little bit, but it's the scallop that, you know, goes out. And so you can see that I used, okay, let me take a couple of these pins out so I can show you about that. So I can lift it up. So the pins that I put in here, I put right here. I felt that it would be good between the 7 and the 8 right here, and they all lined up. So I put them on this dotted line here, and I just placed them right underneath this yellow right here, this beehive color. Okay, but I am doing this, I'm taking this apart backwards as I do it. So I do start from the center, definitely, and then I go out from there and kind of pull and stretch a little bit, and you know, so that I can decide which line. Every doily is individual because you made it. It's handmade, it's individual, even though you're using the same size hook, the same size yarn. You know, some days, like I say, you crochet looser or tighter. And so for these doilies, it doesn't really matter. It's not, you know, as a quilter, you do need to be exact size-wise to put your blocks in a quilt, but because these are not going into a quilt, they can stand on their own, or even if you're joining circles together like this, if you're joining them together, you can kind of pull them and stretch them a little bit so that they look uniform and they don't have to be the exact same size. And so this one I just took off that next row, and I had pinned those on the 5-inch circle mark. Okay, and then this one is the one that I put the most pins in, and I get the most particular with, and that is this little border, this little single crochet border in the beehive color that you see in the yellow around the edges. And this is right on the 3.5. Okay, so that circle. And so I put a pin in every other single crochet. You could put it in every single crochet if you wanted to, and that just kind of stretches it out and makes it even and starts that center, because you can really, your eye is really drawn to that center, and you want that, you know, to be nice and an even circle. And then I just simply have my one pin right here in the center. Okay, and I start with just the center of the flower there, center it up, and so I'm constantly doing a lot of this and kind of deciding where I want to go, and then I just go ahead and pin in, lift up, and I use these lines. I am using rust-proof T-pins. I don't want them, you know, to get rusty because we do apply moisture. And so that's what it looks like when I start like this. I mean, this is one that hasn't been. Okay, so you can see kind of how the scallops are. Let me try to make it as even as I can here. So it looks 10 inches, but let's just pretend that I'm gonna pin these in the same places that I have started in the center already. Just go like that. I'm not gonna pin this whole thing, but I'm just trying to show you that, you know, I can see my pinholes from where I did it last time. So see, that can stretch into that 11-inch, no problem. And when I say stretch, it's not really stressed. It does stretched as far as to the point where it's going to distort your doily or distort your work. And so I just keep doing that, starting from the center out. And then I take a spray bottle, and it's just water, just plain water. I don't add anything to it. And I just spray it, saturate it. I'll put it in my tub, on my patio or something like that, and just let it dry overnight, or just set it against inside the sink, you know, something like that. And that's what I do. And in the morning, it just, you know, that's what it ends up looking like. After you've applied the water too, I really like how it kind of gives a different finish to that cotton too, and makes it even softer. But you can see that this holds its shape. Okay, I can fold it up like this. It holds its shape. Okay, and so that's the blocking process. Now, I did forget to tell you that this new one, when it comes looking like this is the little handle that pushes out. And a lot of people use this to put their blocking pins in. Okay, so it's just, that's kind of a fun, unique little feature. But I like the idea of the handles when I came up with this blocking board, because I wanted one with graphs, and especially, I mean, with graph squares, like graph paper, and especially with a circle. I modeled it after knee pads, you know, in the gardening knee pads, and I really like that handle where it's portable and you don't have to grab onto it where you're touching the pins and things like that. So that's why I have that little handle out there. Okay, so I want to show you some of the things that, you know, that I do with these doilies. Now, I know I've shown you these before, and these are little risers that I bought a long time ago at Target, and they were just like, you know, like a light wood, and I painted them with chalk paint, and I just put different size of doilies on them. Okay, so there's a large one. These are ones that I've made, you know, years ago, over the years. And there's a medium size and a small one. Now, I've shown you that you can stop at any point to make whatever size you want and add that border. So that's kind of fun. But I brought this in because I use these for plant stands in my windowsill. Now, when I put a plant on there, I always have a tray underneath the plant, or I use a container that has the dish under it so that there's not a hole underneath, so it goes into it. It can get wet, but I just don't want it to be getting wet over and over again, and then having the moisture in there and maybe, you know, something going on in there. And so I always use my plants with the tray. Yes, I'm a crazy plant lady. I love to garden outside, and I love house plants too. So I love to use my doilies for underneath my plants, or even just a flower arrangement or anything like that. But I brought these in because I wanted to show you, look at this middle one. I don't know how it happened, but I put this on. I put this on, probably I put my pot back on there and didn't put the tray under it one time when I was watering, and so the dirt leached through, and I kept this way. This just happened recently. I kept it this way because I wanted to show you that all is not ruined. Just because there's dirt on there from the plant does not mean that I can't clean this. This is 100% cotton. My yarn is washable. I will just wash this, and I could throw it in the washer, but I'll just put it in the sink and maybe put a little bit of mild soap in the water if it doesn't come out. I've done that before because I have crochet dishcloths with these, so I've thrown those in the washer. So I have had to do this and reblock a doily again, and so that's all you would do. See, that's what it looks like underneath. So I'll just wash that, and then I will just reblock it and put it back there and make sure that I don't, you know, make that mistake again. But I did want to show you that that's totally fixable, and you can do that. And risers you can find in a lot of places. I just picked this one up at Home Goods. Okay, and that's fun. You can do whatever size that you have, and that's what's fun with these doilies. You can add as many rows or as least amount of rows as you want according to, you know, what you need to do. So another thing, and I kind of showed you this plate last time. So these plates I bought at Hobby Lobby because I wanted to show you, pick some up that I do often in my decor, like to use risers and plates and things like that. So this is one that looks really pretty with the doily sitting on it, with something sitting in the middle, or just like that, you know, in your decor. Okay, so here's one with dark wood. These plates are inexpensive. Let's see, that one I think I even got on clearance at Hobby Lobby for $2.99. Here's something that was in their Americana decor, so it was a denim one, and so that's fun too. And then they had this one, and I loved it because you can keep it as it is, but it's just unfinished and it's not shiny. It doesn't have, you know, feel like it has a finish on it. So I can paint these. So I picked up a few of those. So I can paint those just like I paint these with chalk paint and make different colors. And I'm a person that really likes color, and I love to paint things and little objects and turn them into colors that I want if I can't find those colors. And so that's kind of my you know, thing that I do there. And of course I put them on end tables. You don't have to be round, but I like to put round things on round, but these look cute on a square riser as well, or, you know, whatever you want to do that way. Now, another thing that I have been doing with them that I wanted to show you, I was excited to show you these, is I put them on a hoop. So when I was a young girl, we used to put doilies on a hoop and hang them in our windows. And so I am working with this size doilies. Either works with a 10-inch hoop, which is what these are, and these are 9-inch hoops. So I just grabbed my hoops. Okay, so let me just put one of each end. So this is a 9-inch, this is a 10-inch, and you can use the inside or the outside. I don't use both. I like to double these up, meaning, let me set these here so I can explain it a little bit better. So this one I did on a 9-inch, okay, and this is what it looks like in the back. And so when you do it on a 9-inch hoop, there's my little hangy thing, and I just use this part. This is the outside, and I removed the screw right here. I just removed that and then tied these together with yarn to keep them together. And all I do is on this outside row right here, this is the tea rose color. And so I just grabbed that I had crocheted with, and I just stitch around the hoop using my yarn needle. Let me grab these, just so whenever I mention something, I like to, you know, you to have a visual of it. So my yarn needles, and I simply just start by tying my yarn onto the hoop with a knot. The knots are never going to show, that's fine. And then I just sew around the hoop, going between these loops here and just going through each stitch of the top stitch of the single crochet, and that works out really well. Now, I haven't done this yet, but I'm going to. You can starch it, I mean, not starch it, spray it and kind of block that, meaning you don't need to block this because this has pulled it out. By putting it on the hoop, it pulls it out. And I'm going to pull this plate in here so you can kind of see the stitches against that busy fabric. Okay, so it naturally pulls it out and you know, blocks it a little bit, but this could get a little bit wavy and ruffly, so you can put it on your blocking board if you want and put pins in here and just spray it even though the hoop's behind it. And then you can hang them on dresser knobs or in the window or anything like that for little sun catchers, and they're so pretty. They're really pretty. And I had, but this one's for my granddaughter, Sophie. She requested this one. She really wanted one to hang in her window in her bedroom, and so that's that one. And then I'm doing one, so my daughter-in-law wanted one too. This one is the 9-inch hoop, so this is the outside of the 9-inch hoop, and then this one I just used the inside. So with one hoop you can do 2 doilies, and I just did the same thing. I used butterscotch because that's the color that was on that round right there. Okay, so that's what it looks like with the 9-inch hoop. You have this little border sticking out, and it's really funny. You can put ribbon on it to hang it or whatever you want to do, or make little tassels off the bottom, or, you know, these are like very, I call them doilies, but, you know, they can be mandalas, they can be dream catchers, whatever, you know, over the years that we've, you know, that we have called them. And now this one, I've used a 10-inch hoop. So it's bigger, and so this would stretch it too much if I went ahead and used the linen. So what I did was I just actually laced the border on it. And this is really easy. When you run out of yarn, you just knot it right there and load it up again and just continue going around. And so I'm just doing a whip stitch loop around the hoop. And what I did with this is I went right in to the tops of these, in between 2 stitches in between these scallops, into that single crochet that you're doing. You do a single crochet and then 3 double crochets and then a single crochet, you know. And so I'm just going into the top of those 2 single crochets with the matching thread. So let's see if I've got some here. This is taffy. I don't know if I've got some in this bowl here. That's taffy. I may have used it all. That's plum. But anyway, I just use the matching yarn and I just thread that around. And then so the scallops stick out just a little teeny bit. So let me pull this in. So again, so I can show you the difference. This is the 10-inch hoop so that the scallops just barely stick out. And then on the 9-inch hoop, they stick out more. So just according to how you crochet, grab some 8-inch hoops, 9-inch, whatever, and just kind of pull it out there, kind of lay it on there on a flat surface and see which one works for you. And these are really fun to hang together. You can do several sizes, hang them in the window together, or just hang them on the wall, or hang them, you know, on a, like I said, the knob of a cupboard, cabinet, dresser pull, anything like that. So I think that's really fun and very easy to do. I mean, you don't have to worry about what the back looks like. You're just doing that. This one, I put a little bit of a hanger thing on it right there. Okay, and so that can hang. And I just think they're really fun. And so I think that is, you know, how I'll end this video, just kind of showing you about my doilies. I think that I've answered, you know, all the questions about that and what they look like after they're blocked. And in my next video, I will either show you, I'm not sure which one I'll do next. I'll either show you how I'm finishing up my scarf that I did the squircles with, so showing you how to join them together, or I may be adding more rows on this doily and showing you how to cover it on the pillow or the cover of like a stool. And so that's one thing I do with doilies. I make them larger and cover stools, the top of stools as well, or even chair pads. And so I hope you enjoyed today's video, and thank you so much for joining me on my channel, and I will chat with you later.